While I was surfing the web, I saw this pop up on the Junkyard's Facebook page, which happens to include a lot of the things that Nick wants and or needs for the truck project. So watch now to see what he got.
All right, quick videos at the Junkyard. Dually, getting dually hubs. Super pumped. Looks like somebody already halfway disassembled this side for me by getting into an accident. Hooray. Cool. All right, let's get this pulled. Quick video, short video. Oh, I'm excited. Oh, I'm excited. Sweet. Look at that. Halfway taken apart already. All right, just like that. 2 dually spacers for the front. Set of wheels for a set of wheels. And I'm gonna grab them cab lights. I'll probably be back for some other stuff. All right, load it up. Good enough for now. I'll be back.
Today, this beautiful Sunday in the snow, I'm gonna go over some of the junkyard finds that I got. You can see there's kind of a pile of tires over here and a really wide axle right there. So yeah, well, I think today we're gonna toss a dually axle underneath this truck and get some front spacers on it, and I'm gonna have a dually. So I was lucky enough to score basically an entire dually setup at the Junkyard. It's not too often I see 3rd gen Dodges at the Junkyard that are dualies, so I just grabbed what I could. These hubs and everything, one was already ripped off the truck. It looks like it must have gotten into a front end accident a little bit. And so I didn't even want to waste my time trying to pull these nuts off while I was there. I'm gonna go ahead and get these wheel spacers taken off because I'm not 100% sure. I think I'm gonna have to swap these studs to my 4-wheel drive hubs. This was a 2-wheel drive dually, so I can't just bolt them on. They're like a completely different pattern here. So the actual lug nut pattern is standard. It's the hubs themselves are a little bit different. I don't think I need anything other than just those spacers. I think I could probably run the brakes that are on there right now, and at least for the time being. I hate to say it, I'm kind of doing all this just to kind of mock it up. I even think this dually axle is probably going to get swapped over to the axle that's in my current truck because it's the same 11.5, but I don't know anything about this one. I don't know what the gear ratio is. I don't know if it's busted up or anything, and at least I know where I stand on mine. But yeah, and I see I'm missing an axle shaft. I'm missing some stuff on this, so I'm hoping that I can at least just get this thing kind of together for the day and make it so I can roll it around again. I'm gonna just kind of get these loose. I don't know what the best way of doing this is. I think I'm probably gonna get like a boxed end wrench. I've never had a dually before. I've worked on a handful of dualies, but I mean, you can't really get a socket in there, so there's got to be like some sort of boxed end crow's foot or something that most guys use. At least that makes the most sense in my brain. Oh yeah, this is easy peasy. And just for my reference, these nuts are a 7/8. So I'm thinking that should be easy enough. I just got to make sure I don't lose none of these. I'm so excited. I'm like, this has like been a childhood dream of mine to justify having like a dually, and like we tow enough that I can like kind of justify it. Although I have like for sure mental illness when it comes to wheels and tires, because like, I mean, would love to have 35s on this still. Like my truck currently has 35s and it looks perfect, but I know that that's sort of impractical for a dually, so I don't know. I might just let it live with smaller 30-ish size tires and kind of go from there. I wish this pattern was the same as mine, because man, it sure would be nice to just have these as like a spare, but it's a 4-stud pattern on the 4-wheel drive, so no good. No good for me. Kind of looking at this axle as a whole. I mean, junkyard that I go to, you basically get the whole thing. The way it falls out of the truck, from brakes, kind of outwards and inwards, and so I got all new brakes, or brakes that came with it, rotors, and the hubs. Now, just looking at this, I'm not too familiar. I believe this housing is the exact same housing that I have in my truck. I know it's smaller than the, or this is bigger than the housing that's in this donor truck. This donor truck is a 3/4 ton. I believe that's got the 10 1/4, 10 1/2, I forget. Only because it was a gasser and an automatic. And with like gear ratio, I'm not 100% sure. I haven't really checked this truck from like the VIN or anything. I didn't even think to take the VIN off of this, which probably would have been smart. The one major thing I'm missing is this side. I'm missing an axle shaft, and I see this bolt got kind of twisted. I'm hoping that didn't alter the threads in that at all. So I'm gonna have to double check that. But so this is basically the way that I pulled it from the yard. I just cut all my stuff, you know, breather lines, brake lines, emergency brake cables. Mostly because it was freezing and cold out when I was there. I'm not even necessarily gonna worry about pulling this cover or anything right now. My truck is an 06 with the 5.9 Cummins and a G56. So with that G56, it was basically optioned with a 11.5 right from the factory. You just got it, whether you got a 1 ton or a 3/4 ton. So mine's just a single wheel 3/4 ton, and I believe that's the same axle that I have sitting in front of me here. So I'm even considering swapping these hubs right over onto my housing when this truck gets closer to actually being on the road, and really only because I have a better idea of what's happened on that axle for the last 10 years. Enough talk. At least get the brakes pulled off of it and go from there. Clean some surfaces off here. I'm gonna run these in and out. Like this one. This one, I have a feeling there's something going on here. Just so I know about how much room I have to play with here. I grabbed a set of my calipers, and I'll take a quick measurement on this. So it looks like about 4 3/4 is going to do it. And I can also reference that on the actual axle shaft that I have. So I'm going to go over, toss this into CAD, and cut out a plate real quick with some clearance holes for those bolts. All right, made a quick cover up. We'll see. Probably I'll have to adjust these a little bit. Plasma's not 100% perfect, but it'll be good enough to just keep like water out and oil it. So I just made up this quick plate. You know, nothing special. Just kind of dress these holes up real quick. Hit it with the flap disc. But let's put this on. I'm gonna leave this one out. I don't like the way that thread looks, and now that I just spent all that time fixing them, I don't want to run that in. You can kind of see it. See how there's like kind of what looks like newer threads cut on it. I just don't like the way that looks. I wonder if that was ran into one of those holes that just was no good. So, okay, I'm gonna start getting some of this disassembled. Probably gonna pull the sway bar off for now, just because I don't have a mount for it on this new axle. Looks like something that I can make up easy enough though. Do a quick mark on this so that I know which way it goes on, whether or not it stays on this one, but at least I know. Okay, drop shaft is out. Woo. I have come to the conclusion that these little plastic centering pins that are on these leaf perches are meant to be in the leaf spring, and this one was just stuck in the axle from when I pulled it. So I'm gonna save these in case I need them for any reason. All right, let's shove this thing under. It's probably the last thing I do tonight. Tonight I'm gonna pull these backing plates off and see if I can't swap it onto my dually axle and retain these newer, like 09 style brakes, as opposed to these like old school ones that have the sliders. That these I fought these on my truck for the entire time I've owned it. It's cold, and this is day 2 of swapping my truck to a dually so that I can start doing other things like get a motor swapped into it. But, alright, well, like I said, I'm gonna get this thing all pulled apart and make those parts onto this parts. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna try and see if I can just swap this whole back plate. I think that'll work.
You'd think that a single axle to dually axle swap wouldn't take that long, but it was a ton of video. So we're stopping here right now. Will the rest of the axle swap go as smoothly as he hopes? You're just gonna have to find out.